Missiles, bombs, explosions. For months now, the world's attention has remained fixed on the Middle East. What began as a confrontation involving the United States, Iran, and Israel has steadily expanded beyond its original battlefield. And while headlines continue to focus on Washington and Tehran, there is another country that may have far more to lose if this conflict continues to spread. A country that has spent years trying to stay out of yet another regional war. That country is Saudi Arabia. Today, Riyadh is confronting a nightmare it believed it had left behind. Its oil infrastructure is once again under threat. Its airports are being targeted. Its shipping routes are becoming increasingly vulnerable. And the ambitious future it has spent years trying to build now faces growing risk from conflicts unfolding across multiple fronts. So this is the story of why Saudi Arabia is being pulled into a war it never wanted and why finding a way out is becoming increasingly difficult. To understand Saudi Arabia's dilemma, we need to go back a few years. For decades, the kingdom's economy depended overwhelmingly on oil. But Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman launched an ambitious transformation plan known as Vision 2030. The objective was simple in theory: reduce dependence on oil, build new industries, create jobs, expand tourism, attract foreign investment, and transform Saudi Arabia into a global business and technology hub. Gigantic mega projects, luxury tourism, data centers, financial districts, entertainment cities, every pillar of this vision depends on one thing: stability. Because investors do not commit billions of dollars to countries that appear vulnerable to war. And that is precisely where Saudi Arabia's biggest challenge begins. For much of this latest regional conflict, Saudi Arabia tried to avoid direct involvement. It repeatedly called for restraint while focusing on protecting its own territory. Riyadh understood one thing very clearly: the moment it became an active participant, it risked becoming a primary target itself. But staying on the sidelines has become increasingly difficult. According to reports cited by multiple international media outlets, Saudi Arabia believes Iranian-backed militias operating in Iraq have carried out repeated drone attacks targeting the kingdom. This week, Saudi's forces joined the United States in striking positions linked to those militias, a significant escalation. Instead of remaining a spectator, Saudi Arabia has now responded militarily. And that raises an uncomfortable question: how much further could this conflict go? This conflict is no longer confined to a single battlefield. It now stretches across several countries. Its regional network includes armed groups operating in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Each front presents a different security challenge. For Saudi Arabia, however, the most immediate threats lie to its north and south. To the north, Iraqi militias have been accused of launching drones towards Saudi territory. To the south, the Houthis remain capable of firing missiles and drones from Yemen. That means Riyadh faces security threats from multiple directions at the same time. And this is not the first time Saudi Arabia has experienced such vulnerability. Back in September 2019, the kingdom witnessed one of the most serious attacks in its modern history. The Abqaiq and Khurais oil processing facilities were struck by drones and missiles. These sites are among the most critical components of Saudi Arabia's energy infrastructure. The attacks temporarily disrupted nearly half of the kingdom's oil production. Global oil prices surged almost immediately. The incident sent shockwaves through energy markets. But inside Saudi Arabia, it exposed something even more troubling: that some of the country's most valuable infrastructure could be targeted using relatively inexpensive drones and missiles. That lesson has never been forgotten. And today, Riyadh fears history could repeat itself. The risks extend far beyond oil facilities. Vision 2030 is creating an entirely new landscape of infrastructure, technology hubs, data centers, tourism projects, financial districts, and futuristic cities. These projects require years of planning and hundreds of billions of dollars in investment. But unlike underground oil reserves, they are exposed. Every new drone attack raises uncomfortable questions for global investors. Can these projects remain secure if regional tensions continue to escalate? Then comes perhaps Saudi Arabia's biggest economic concern: oil exports. A significant share of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important maritime choke points on the planet. Any disruption there has immediate consequences for global energy markets. Following the latest escalation earlier this year, Iran threatened commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, raising fresh concerns over maritime trade. Saudi Arabia responded by relying more heavily on its east-west pipeline, transporting crude across the kingdom to Yanbu on the Red Sea, allowing exports to reach Asian markets without passing through Hormuz. Initially, it appeared to be a practical alternative, but then another challenge emerged. The Red Sea itself became increasingly dangerous. After Saudi-backed Yemeni government forces claimed responsibility for a strike near Sana'a airport aimed at preventing an Iranian aircraft from landing, the Houthis retaliated. Regional Saudi airports including Abha and Jizan came under attack. And more importantly, the Houthis intensified attacks on shipping linked to Saudi Arabia in the Red Sea, increasing pressure on another vital maritime choke point, the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. If Hormuz becomes unsafe and the Red Sea also turns into a conflict zone, Saudi Arabia's options narrow dramatically. Its export routes become more vulnerable, and so does its economy. Now, there is another reason why Saudi Arabia wants to avoid another prolonged conflict. The kingdom has already fought a long and costly war against the Houthis. Its military campaign in Yemen lasted for years, caused immense destruction, and contributed to one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Yet, despite years of military operations, Saudi Arabia failed to secure a decisive victory. Eventually, an uneasy truce emerged in 2022. The fighting reduced significantly, allowing Riyadh to shift its focus back to economic transformation. Now that fragile stability is once again under pressure. The Houthis remain capable of launching attacks, and Saudi Arabia has little appetite for returning to another open-ended war. That is why Riyadh's choices are becoming increasingly complicated. If it retaliates forcefully to every attack, the conflict could escalate even further. If it exercises restraint, armed groups may interpret that as weakness. If it deepens military cooperation with Washington, it risks being viewed by Iran and its allies as part of the opposing camp. But if it distances itself from the United States, its own security calculations become far more complicated. Every path carries risk and none offers an easy way out. And that's a wrap from my side. Thank you so much for watching, and I am Tamanna Akhtar signing off for Times Now Digital. Until next time, take care and keep watching this space for more such videos.